My name is Mary Rice.
For the first time since being convicted of first-degree murder in September of 2018, Mary Rice is speaking publicly about what she calls her nightmare road trip with Billy Boyette. Officials say Boyette killed 4 women across our region in early 2017. Let's walk through a quick timeline to remind you about the crime spree that paralyzed our area. Employees at Emerald Sands Inn in Milton found Alicia Greer and Jacqueline Moore shot dead on January 31st that year. Mary Rice says it was sometime after the double murder that she was kidnapped, threatened, and forced to go with Boyette around the Northwest Florida and Alabama Gulf coasts. February 3rd, officials found Peggy Brose shot to death in her Baldwin County driveway. Days later, 28-year-old Kayla Crocker was shot in a home invasion in Beulah, Florida. The very next day, officials say Mary Rice surrendered to law enforcement moments before Boyette killed himself inside a Georgia motel room. And tonight, Samantha Serban sits down with Rice for an exclusive interview.
60 minutes start to finish. That's all the time we got with Mary Rice to talk about a week's worth of events. The only off-limits topic, her active Alabama case.
A multi-state search is happening right now.
Ms. Rice, are you guilty of murder?
We, the jury, find the defendant, Mary Rice, guilty.
It was a road trip that terrorized our community. 4 murders across Northwest Florida and South Alabama. Billy Boyette on the run, Mary Rice at his side. One question.
Mary Rice, what is the future for her?
Was Mary an accomplice or hostage? Tell me a little bit about how you met Billy.
And I was part of a prison writing ministry at St. Mary's Episcopal. We would do God letters to people. We would write people uplifting letters, everything.
When a friend asked her to write Boyette, who was held in the Santa Rosa County Jail, she said sure. One letter later,
my brother was in prison. And when I talked to my brother, he was like, stop writing him.
Turns out there was bad blood between Rice's brother and Boyette. So she never wrote him again. But that's when she says the damage was already done.
The first letter that I had wrote him, my address was on there.
Boyette was released from jail in September 2016. Months later,
this man comes in with a loaded gun, put it in my face, acting all crazy.
Rice says Boyette showed up to her trailer well after midnight and demands she get dressed. Gun to her head, she says Boyette threatened her family, alleging someone was watching them and would kill them with one phone call.
He knew where my kids went to school. He knew what bus they rode. He knew what time that they went to school, that they got out of school. He knew where my mom worked. He knew where she lived.
Did he have someone actually there watching, or was that just him using a ruse?
I mean, I know what he said. So, and I believed it with the way he treated me and everything happened on my 8-day nightmare. Yes, absolutely. I believed that there was definitely someone on the other end of that phone that he could call.
This is Chief Assistant State Attorney Bridget Jensen, the prosecutor with 22 years of experience who tried Rice's case.
We had no evidence ever that her children were in harm's way at all. Not only that, but at the very beginning, Mary Rice actually sent pictures of her children to Billy Boyette.
Rice says she felt like she had no other choice but to go with the man to save her kids' lives. That night, she remembers noticing blood on the side of his head, which she assumed to be his. But it wasn't until after everything was over, Rice says, she found out the truth.
I see her laying halfway in the bathroom, him laying in the bed, and everything's covered in blood.
Boyette had killed his girlfriend, Alicia Greer, and her friend, Jacqueline Moore, earlier that day. The next few days were full of travel and trauma, according to Rice.
In the time that he has me, he beats me, he rapes me. He had played Russian roulette with me many a times, and he would empty it out, and he would put one bullet in it, and he would spin it, and he would close it, and then he'd put it to my head, and then he would pull the trigger. And only by the grace of God am I sitting here today, period. And he kept me drugged up a lot.
That's something else prosecutor Bridget Jensen disagrees with.
She may have been doing drugs at some point during the time span that they were on the run, but I don't believe that she was involuntarily drugged.
There are over 4 drugs in my system that proves that I was drugged up the whole time. He was giving me Xanaxes. I would find out Dilaudid.
It's during these few days, Rice says the duo drove through different parts of Florida. She says Boyette forced her to go into different stores and buy things for him.
Did you ever think about leaving notes? That way, like, when you and he left a place, they left it behind where he couldn't see that you had done something?
He was in Walmart with me, so he would have seen anything. And whenever we went to like GNC, there was big, huge windows. I mean, he could see everything in there. He parked right up front. He had a gun on us the whole time. He would have shot through that glass. He would have killed the person in there along with me, no doubt in my mind.
Rice says she did, however, try to tip people off without Boyette's knowing.
Talking to these people at GNC, I gave them my full name, my address.
And even though we see her on surveillance at some of the places they stopped, it's hard to tell if she's under duress or helping someone she loves.
I believe that she was desperate for Billy Boyette's attention. I think she was desperate to be in a relationship with him, and I think she wanted to do anything that she could in order to be with him. This was a man that was big and bad, and I think that she was very much attracted to him.
Let me get that straight. His girlfriend was Alicia Greer. It was not Mary Rice.
I feel like Mary Rice is living in a world where she has convinced herself that her lies are her truth.
February 3rd, 4 days into what Rice calls her kidnapping, a third woman is dead at Boyette's hands. Peggy Braz, shot in her own driveway.
This was random to our victim, and that she was shot and killed for her vehicle.
Because her case is still active in Baldwin County, Rice couldn't comment at all about what happened in Alabama. In the days leading up to Kayla Crocker's death,
He had kept me in this abandoned house.
Rice says the sexual abuse and trauma continued.
He was having me roll his spice, and it locks up on me because I'm so dehydrated. I haven't ate. I haven't had water or anything else. And it's locking up and I can barely get my hand. He cuts it. He tries to take my fingerprints off.
And that's just that's preposterous.
Rice says she was able to sleep eventually, something she says Boyette never did.
And then whenever a couple of days had passed or whatever, he had brought me out and we had walked down and through a little trail. He waits there until dark and he puts leaves all over me and everything. And he's like, don't say anything, don't say anything. The next morning when he kicks me awake, we end up walking across the street. It was really early morning, like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Rice remembers walking in front of Kayla Crocker's trailer in Beulah when they heard her car start up. The door was open, keys in the ignition, but no one was around.
He's at the driver's door and he's turning the car off and taking the keys and putting them in his pocket. Whenever I came up on the porch, there was a piece of rope there, and he did have me, he had a gun to us both. So it's not like I willingly did this or anything. I had a loaded gun on me. And whenever I tied it, I told her I was sorry. And I said, I'm tying this real loose. And I said it real quiet to her. And she was like, thanks. And then he had me grab food and go to the car. I just heard gunshots and everything. You know, I can just imagine what took place.
After that gunshot, did you ask him why he killed her?
No, there wasn't a lot of talking with him.
After Crocker's death, the pair made their way up to Troup County, Georgia. They checked into a motel that would eventually lead to their demise.
He wakes me up and he's freaking out and he's like, oh my God, the cops are here, they're everywhere.
This is video we took outside the West Point Motel. You can see the massive police presence.
He's like, look out the window. And I'm like, okay. So I get there and I slowly put my hand there and slide the curtain over. And I'm like, yeah, cops are here. There's a whole lot of them. And then I close it.
While Boyette hid behind a mattress, Rice says she finally made her escape.
So I make it out the door. And whenever I do, I start immediately telling them about my kids, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I'm letting them know, you know, he's threatening my kids, someone's watching my kids. That was the first things out of my mouth, was my children, and he has someone watching my children, you know. And then I never heard the shot.
Billy Boyette died by suicide inside that Georgia motel room, leaving Rice to face all the consequences for the crime spree and leaving many without answers. Rice was convicted of murder and accessory after the fact in 2018. She's currently serving a life sentence plus 30 years at Lowell Correctional Institution just outside of Ocala.
Every day that I wake up in here is my reminder of what this man did, and I'm sitting here on principle to his crimes. That's crazy to me. How can you take a victim, an innocent person, and put them in prison because he killed himself and you want someone to blame? That's crazy.
Keep in mind, it's unlikely that we'll ever know the full truth to what happened on Billy Boyette and Mary Rice's trip across our region. Tomorrow, we'll dive into the reasons Rice believes her conviction should be overturned, or at least why she says she should get a new trial.
I'm on her case pro bono at this point.
And I shouldn't be here paying for his crimes.
And Thursday, Rice shares what she's doing in prison to help others and what she would do if she ever got a chance to be free again. In the studio, I'm Samantha Serban.